For this thought experiment, I'd like you to imagine a world in which you are a Christian, having been raised by a Christian family somewhere in the Western world. In this proposed scenario, the Christian culture is all you've ever known, you wholeheartedly embrace the Christian faith, and to top it all off, you thoroughly enjoy the movie Avengers. We'll call this reality Earth C. Now, imagine an alternate reality, identical to Earth C, with one important distinction. Vikings took the place of Christians and Jews in the founding of Western civilization. The you of this reality was raised by a Viking family to believe in Norse gods and follow a Nordic value system. That reality is Earth V. On Earth C, people have long disregarded the ideas and alleged events of the Vikings' religion as mythology. On this Earth, a team of comic book writers went as far as to include the Nordic god Thor as a member of one of their fictional superhero teams. Meanwhile, on Earth V, the Viking versions of those writers decided to use the hero of the mythological book The Bible in their superhero team. And so, on Earth V, Jesus took the place that Thor holds in Earth C's Avengers. On Earth V, the Christian Messiah, who healed hundreds of sickly people and absolved humanity of its sins by sacrificing himself, has been reduced to a comic book character for trivial entertainment. As a Christian inhabitant of Earth C, are you offended by this? Do you find it reprehensible that in an alternate reality where Western culture is underpinned by Nordic tradition, that the roles Thor and Jesus hold in your reality have been swapped? As a Christian, does it upset you that in the context of another universe's Earth, children are growing up reading comics depicting Jesus taking on Judas alongside Captain America and the Hulk? And do you think it is morally acceptable that while enjoying Jesus' comical antics, the children are likely being raised to worship Thor as though he were a legitimate deity? The thought experiment is now over, so pause the video if you'd like and take some time to ponder before I begin my argumentation. Firstly, if Jesus' depiction on Earth V does offend you, then you are, on principle, a hypocrite. The ideological double standard, to worship a deity of one's own religion while simultaneously disregarding the deities of foreign religions as mythology, should not be overlooked. Every religion claims exclusive validity. This means that every religion claims that it is the one true religion that worships the one true God, meaning that choosing a religion around which one can center their life can be as arbitrary as pulling a number out of a hat. The Christian writers of Earth C are entitled to their right to free speech, and so to represent characters of foreign religions, such as Thor, in their fictional works. But would it be justifiable to condemn them for disrespecting the few Vikings who might still believe in the deity they are blaspheming? If not, how is it justifiable to condemn the writers of Earth V for their blaspheming of Jesus? If we are going to condemn artists for blasphemy, we should at least be consistent on what grounds call for condemnation. If we are going to respect and uphold the sacred nature of one religion, then surely we should apply the same standard of respect to all religions, despite each of them claiming exclusive validity, lest we be hypocrites. Secondly, if you are not offended by Jesus being an Avenger on Earth V, then the Christian faith has no inherent quality that makes it holy or sacred. If, under the right circumstances, Jesus could replace Thor in fiction without it being blasphemy, then Jesus is no more sacred than any other historical or fictional character. If we apply this principle to the entire faith, meaning that any and all of Christianity is fair game for parody or criticism, then there is nothing inherently divine about it. It is just another set of beliefs claiming exclusive validity. And what does that say about God? If, under the right circumstances, Jesus would be permitted to be seen alongside the Avengers in graphic novels, meaning that the religion is not intrinsically sacred, then God is not intrinsically divine. The right circumstances would in this case be an alternate reality such as Earth V, where the predominant Western faith is based on Nordic values and traditions. If on Earth V it is acceptable for elements of the Christian religion to be appropriated for fiction, just as it is acceptable on Earth C for any quote-unquote mythology to be considered fair use, then the Christian religion is no more true or real than any other. This would mean that Christianity is not exclusively valid and the Christian God is not omnipotent, for if God were absolutely powerful, nothing could bring into question his divinity. To be absolute is to be beyond scrutiny. Therefore, if it is acceptable for inhabitants of Earth V to enjoy Jesus' Avenger-related antics, thereby contesting Christianity's absolutely sacred status, Christianity is not absolute, and God is not omnipotent. For if God were absolutely powerful, his divinity would not be limited to a single reality, he would instead have dominion over all realities. If God's divinity can be questioned in one reality, he is not omnipotent and Christianity is fundamentally lying. To circle back for a moment, if in the context of the thought experiment you are offended by Jesus' depiction on Earth V, then you have a double standard because you like the Avengers, which features a Nordic god being misappropriated for novel entertainment. The use of Jesus in Earth V's Avengers was of course justified by the Bible being deemed mythology, just as Nordic culture was on Earth C, but you were offended nevertheless. And if you are not offended by Jesus being an Avenger on Earth V, then Christianity is not inherently holy, because if God's power was absolute, his gospel would be beyond scrutiny, and the writers of Earth V would definitively be committing blasphemy. Consider for a moment the faith of your other alternate self, the you of Earth V, the version of yourself that thoroughly enjoys the version of the Avengers of which Jesus is a core member. On Earth V, you grew up in a Nordic household with Nordic values and you wholeheartedly embrace the Nordic faith. You on Earth C and you on Earth V are separated only by the differences inherent in the realities. Other than the differences in which culture had the most influence in founding Western civilization, you have the same identity. So if you are a devout Christian on Earth C, you are a devout Nord on Earth V. Negating the objective factors present in this discussion, such as the credibility or validity of either of the alternate realities' religions, there remains only your convictions. Your conviction to Christianity in one reality and the Nordic faith in the other. With that established, let me ask you this. Do you think that the different versions of yourself would give the same answer if asked which religion were the one true faith? Surely you'd answer no, because they are each steadfast in their own respective beliefs, keeping in mind that these are both you, different only insofar as the context in which they were raised. So the question then becomes, if the validity of your religion is based on the context in which you were raised, how valid can it truly be? You might contend that the example is too far-fetched and therefore unfair. After all, how would you know what the you of another reality would answer to such a question? It's okay though, because we don't need to go so far to make the point. Let's propose a more grounded scenario. You are a devout Christian having been raised in a Christian household somewhere in the United States of America. If asked which religion were the right one, you would surely answer Christianity. Now, what if you had instead been born in a Hindu household, grew up to be a devout Hindu, and lived in India? This hypothetical you is still you. Same biology, same personality, same genetic predispositions. The difference is the context in which you grew up. If asked the same question as earlier, this version of you would undoubtedly answer Hinduism, which raises the same quintessential conundrum. If the validity of your religion is based on the context in which you were raised, how valid can it truly be? In conclusion, if the you of Earth C is offended by Jesus' portrayal on Earth V, they're a hypocrite, and if they aren't offended by it, then Christianity is not based in absolute truth. This is a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario, but not because I've rigged the experiment. This is not a paradox or a trick to make Christians feel gotcha'd. It is an exhibition of the cognitive dissonance that so many religions propagate that makes it so difficult to find logic in faith. There is nothing wrong with relying on faith to overcome hardship or live a better life, but if this thought experiment has proved anything, it's that in order to have faith in one religion over every other, you have to compromise your critical thinking. As always, I love discussion and debate, so if you have any criticism of this thought experiment, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, see you next time.